Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Now today I've got this Stampendous Agapanthus rubber cling stamp and I'm going to be working with this. And this is a big one. It's on a 6x6 square, so you can see it's a really good size. It's going to be a lot like the last one I did, I can't remember the name of it, but I'm gonna need a bigger sheet to stamp down on, and I'm gonna be able to get a couple cards out of it. Now the last one I did, I got 3 cards out of, but this one I'm only gonna get 2 out of. And I stamped the last one on with just black Memento ink, and then I did some coloring. And with this one, we're gonna just do some stamping and some heat embossing, and that'll make for a nice looking card. Now I'm looking for the magnet for my Misty. I thought maybe it was stuck on the back, that's why I flipped it over, but I didn't find it, so I'm going to get in my drawer here and grab a couple smaller ones that I have and just use those for the time being. I'm sure it'll show up somewhere stuck to something. So I'm just going to get this laid down, and we're going to position our stamp on our paper. And I actually used watercolor paper. I grabbed it thinking I was going to color this, and then when I looked at how it was going to stamp down, I decided that I was just going to heat emboss it, but I didn't change out the paper, and it works just fine on here. It was probably a waste of watercolor paper, but it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to bring in my Versamark clear ink, and I'm just going to get this thing inked up really well. And I'll do it a couple times because it is kind of a large area and it's kind of hard to see what I have inked up. So we'll do it twice, and then we'll get into the heat embossing. We are having just a nice little rain right now. We've got some dark clouds over us, and it's just a nice little rain. So it'll water my flowers. We've been having just really a lot of rainy, windy, stormy kind of weather lately. It's been kind of a weird summer. Not as many bright, sunshiny days as I would prefer. So here's where I'm going to go ahead and stamp it again. And I left this video in real time today. I think it was only, I don't know, maybe a little over 18-minute video from start to finish. And so I just left it in real time. And I'm just going to ink this up, make sure I get it really good. And I'm thinking about the embossing powder that I want to use. And so I was grabbing it, and I'm grabbing my little piece of paper that I like to lay my panel on so I can sprinkle my embossing powder. And what I'm using is this Sangria from Pink and Maine, and it's just kind of a dark pink glittery embossing powder, and I'm just going to get it on there real well, and then we'll shake it off. And I did forget to use my anti-static powder tool. So I do have a few pieces hanging around there, but I'm able to dust them off, and I actually get a pretty clean embossing on there. So I'm just going to kind of tap it off, and then we'll go to the heat gun and just heat it all up. This is where I just take that brush and just kind of brush off some areas where I had some laying there. But otherwise, it didn't get all over the place without the anti-static powder tool. So I was happy with that. So we'll get the heat gun and we'll get this heated up, and then we'll start cutting it down and make our couple of cards. I'm going to brush off my desk because it's all over the desk, and just kind of clean everything up. So last night we had, I think I've told you we have concerts in the park on Tuesday nights, and we had a wonderful band last night. They were just so talented. I think they were called the Jam Band? The Jam Band, I think is what they were called. But anyway, they played some really good music. They played like Boston and Kansas and Rush and REO Speedwagon, and just a lot of really good old-time bands music. It was one of those concerts where you knew every word to every song, so it was fun. We had a good time. The weather was a little bit iffy because it started to drizzle rain a little bit for just a real short period, which it didn't bother us because we were on the golf cart, and we were covered, and it wasn't raining hard enough to really create any problems. So that was nice. But we had a really enjoyable time listening to the music. And of course, we had to have our fair food. You know, they always have the booth there. And so we, on our Tuesday night concert night, we usually eat junk. So we have a local family that owns one of the booths, and they make tenderloins and corn dogs and all that, and they're all they hand bread them, and they're just fabulous, very well known. Anyway, so we had hand breaded tenderloins without the buns, so we don't do the bread, and so that was good. I was torn between getting a corn dog or a tenderloin, but I'll have to get the corn dog next time that we go. So this is where I'm just going to take and cut my panel down, and I'll make several cuts on it because I am having a hard time judging where that line is underneath that panel, and so I'm just going to move it down. And I should have held it with a little guide because my paper kind of moved on me a little bit there. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it and deciding how I want to cut it next. So I had the boys today, and we had our usual fun day. We were able to get out on the golf cart and kind of just go around the town and just see what kinds of things are going on. They are really into the construction and the fire equipment and house ambulances and all that and everything. So we just kind of roam around town and see what kind of work is going on in the town, and so they can see it. So they got to see some potholes being filled down an alley, and they got to see the city was trimming some trees, and they got to see that, and they're extending our addition, and they're putting new roads in behind us and everything, and so they got to see that going on. So we just do that every day. We kind of make a daily trek around town just to see what kind of things we can see, so they can check it out. The day before, they had the fire trucks at the high school, and they were testing their lines, and so they got to see that. So they enjoy learning all about the different trucks and vehicles and things that they do. They're really into cars, so we did that. Otherwise, we kind of just played out in the backyard, and they watched their little shows, and then it was time for them to go home. So I thought, as soon as they left, I'm going to get in here and do this voiceover on this video, and then I'm going to play around in my craft room and just make some things and have some fun. I've kind of had some crazy, stressful things going on, and I am finding peace in my craft room, so that's what I'm doing. Anyway, so I'm going to trim this down a little bit more, and I basically have created 2 panels here that I'm going to use for 2 cards, and I think they look really pretty, and it's so simple. These big stamps just make card making so simple. So anyway, I'm going to work with these, and we're going to create 2 similar but different cards. So I had some scraps, and I'm just going to bring in this black piece of scrap. It was a scrap, and I cut it to the dimensions that I needed to just put a layer on this larger panel here. And I'm grabbing my tweezers and just flipping it over, and I'm going to get it glued down and laid on that black panel, and then we will start building the rest of the card. Actually, I think we'll back the other one first, but I just went online, scrapbook.com you could get a free magic mat. You just had to pay the shipping. And so I ordered it. Of course, I ordered some other stuff too. I just feel guilty getting something free from them without ordering something else. So I ordered the Spellbinders. They have the Spellbinders Christmas paper pack cardstock. Relatively inexpensive. I got that. Was there something else? Can't even remember. Anyway, I'm going to line this one as well on the black. And I think it looks really pretty. These are going to be really basic, simple cards, but I think with the embossing and the sparkle, I don't think you really need a lot. And I didn't cut this panel quite right, so I'm just going to take my scissors and just trim it down and hopefully make it look a little bit better. And there we go. Aren't those pretty? Just in and of themselves. I went on Google so that I could figure out how to say agapanthus, because I wasn't certain, so I went on there and typed it in and checked the pronunciation of it, because it's kind of an interesting name. In fact, I didn't even know that that was the name of these flowers. I knew these flowers, but I did not know that was the name of it. So it was kind of interesting to check it out. And they come in all different colors, pinks and purples and whites, just lots of different colors, these florals do. So I thought the sangria could work. And I'm just using some Spellbinders paper there. That is the Dahlia paper that I've got. And we'll just lay this down on a top folding card base. And I've got it on there crooked, and I'm going to try and... oh, I remembered that I wanted to add some twine to it. I rarely add twine or ribbon to my cards, and I had thought about this, and I thought with that black on there, I've got some black twine, and I could just add it. So I fumble around with this, and eventually get it where I want it. You can tell I don't put twine on here very often, because I do fumble around quite a bit on it. In fact, I think I even cut a little bit of my fumbling out, just because it was so much. It took so much time to get this laid down on there the way I wanted it. So I think I actually cut it out. You think I've never tied my shoes before or something. But we'll get there eventually. And I wanted 3 of them on there, and then I'm going to tie it and get it laid down on my card base. There we go. So we'll just snip those, and that we're going to add a sentiment to that card. And I'm trying to get these spaced out to where they look nice and even on there. And I'm going to bring in a better press sentiment, and I'm trying to think of the name of it right at the moment. It is, let me see, I think I have it here. It is the Nature's Botanical Garden Sentiments, and I thought that was perfect for this card. So it is a better press, and I just pressed it with my black ink, and then they do have the coordinating dies that go with it. It comes as a set, and we'll get them laid down on there, and that'll be my sentiment. And let me see. I was trying to find that card. I believe it says, happiness is to hold flowers in both hands, is what it says. And then I'm going to get it laid down on there, use some foam tape, and straighten it up. And I think it turned out real nice. Now we're going to work on the second card, and it'll be fairly similar, but we're going to bring some different colors in. I thought I could use this teal with a pink, and it would be a little bit different. So I'm going to kind of, I guess, left justify it, just like I did the other one. And we'll just get it glued up and get it laid down on here. And I thought, I'm going to add some twine to this. And then I poked my head in my ribbon bin, and I thought, I think I've got a ribbon that could look nice with this pattern paper. And so I'm going to go ahead and lay this down, and I'm going to put the ribbon around the smaller piece. So I'm just going to do it just slightly different. Here's where I'm grabbing the twine, and then I think about the ribbon, and I'm going to use the ribbon on there. And I'm just going to put it underneath this panel instead of the cardstock panel like I did on the other one. And hopefully I won't fumble around with this as much as I did the other one. I just thought it would bring the panel and the card base together, adding this color on there. So I'm just going to make a simple bow, and then I'll work it around and get it to where it looks like it's going to lay on there nicely. And then shrink it down a little bit because it's too big. And I think that'll work. I think that looks nice. I'll just snip away the excess. I think I'll have to snip it away again because I think it's just, or actually I move it up. I slide it up on this panel so that I have room for it on the base of the card. This is where I'll just take and slide it up a little bit. I think that looks nice. I actually used this card already. We had a death in the extended family, and so my husband was taking some food for the viewing for the funeral home, or some food for the family to snack on while they're having their visitation. I had put together some food, and he was going to take it along with. I needed a card because I had gotten him a memorial wind chime, and so I needed a card. And this one said, "You're in my thoughts." And so it was laying on my desk, and he was about to go out the door, and I said, "Hang on, and I'll give you this." And so I filled it out, and I used this card already. So I put these foam circles on here, and I don't like them. They're too thick, and I don't know why I'm going to throw them away. Because every time I use them, I wind up taking them off and replacing them with something else. And I do this. I'll do it off camera, but I don't like how they're sticking up. I'll put glue on one side and those on the other because I'm going to kind of float it off of my focal point there. That was the other thing I ordered from scrapbook.com. I got those thin strips. I needed those. I was all out of them, and that's why I was reaching for these circle foam dot things that I don't like. And I'm adding more on there thinking it'll help level it off. But ultimately, it's just too high and it looks ridiculous. So I take it off and I just use some of the strips that I had. And it says thinking, or you're in my thoughts, I think is what it says. And I think it's really pretty. They both turned out nice. I like them. I had these 2 random Spellbinders black enamel dots left, and they had wound up on my floor. I'm thinking my grandkids got a hold of them, and I saw them, and I thought, I'm using these things up, and I'm going to throw away that sheet that they come on and just be done with it. And so I put one on each. And then that finishes up these cards. I think they turned out really pretty. I hope you like them. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye now.